Hello and welcome back. So last week we had a look at Gaussians, and this week we are going to try and apply what we have learned last week. We are going to look at the Monte Carlo estimations. We had looked at Monte Carlo estimations. We are going to come back and apply some of that knowledge today to achieve one simple thing. Like linear regression, it's so simple. We all have, like many of us, most of us watching this video have decent idea of what linear regression is. However, we usually solve linear regression using a method known as least squares, right? So, how we would go about that is, I would do something very simple. Like if I were solving this least squares problem, so what we do is we have the coordinate axis. Like I'm going to take just the x and y axis, like two-dimensional vectors, to solve. Like I'm going to keep the problem simple. So supposing I have these points. Supposing these are some of the points that my data set has. So looking at it, my intuition tells me pretty well that this would be a pretty good straight line to represent the data. And how like let me just label the axis. This is x-axis, this is y-axis. So typically what we do is we have a look at these distances, right? So these distances, not like that, these distances. So what is this distance from each point to our estimated line? And our theory is that if we minimize the summation of these distances, right? If we minimize the summation of these distances, then effectively we have reached one particular value of the slope of the line and the cutoff, such that this straight line, so any line can be represented by the slope and the cutoff on the y-axis. So that is known as this slope intercept form. So y is equal to mx plus b. So what I'm going to do is what we usually do is we look at these distances and we minimize them, and we find the optimal m and b which represents a straight line such that these distances are minimum, like the summation of these distances are minimum, and that is the optimal straight line, and that is what the linear regression problem is all about. However, we are going to do things a bit differently over here. We are going to represent Gaussians. We are going to use Gaussians, and let's go ahead and see what we can do. Right? So firstly, I have to make an assumption, and that assumption shall be that each label y is Gaussian distributed. Each label yi. So let me assume that each label yi is Gaussian distributed with mean xi theta, right? So that is my mean. So I want to actually visualize what I am trying to say over here, but for now stick with me, right? So this will be the mean and this will be like the actual value, right? And I'm going to assume that this Gaussian distribution, as I have assumed that yi is Gaussian distribution, right? So from what I had learned the previous week, I need two parameters in order to define this Gaussian distribution. So one of them is the mean. So I have defined one mean, and the other one that I shall use is variance. So I'm just going to take a particular variance sigma square. First, let us go ahead and see what this visually looks like, and then we shall come back and try to get some mathematics out of this, right? So let me just quickly try and draw. Let's first visualize what is the concept we want to mathematically represent, and then we'll go about actually doing it. So first I'll just take the coordinate axis. So suppose I have these uh, points, right? So let me just I'm going to take very few points because I actually want to, like, what I want to show, I need 2 points, otherwise the thing will get complicated really fast. Supposing this is the line, right? Change the color. Suppose that's the line. Suppose there will be many other points, right? Suppose that's the line. So if that is the line, so what I would have typically done is I would have looked at these perpendicular distances, right? I would have looked at these perpendicular distances and I would try to minimize the summation of those distances. However, I'm going to look at it from a different angle now. So what I would do is I would like to represent each point as some Gaussian distribution. I mean, let me just try and show you what I mean. So like for this value of x, so let me start from here, right? That is a one particular value of x, alright? So say xi, and I would have got like the label for that, or the true particular value for that is yi. Alright, so now what I would do is, and but if I look at this model, right? So let me just assume that the line I have drawn is not optimal at the moment. So I would have to correct the weights in order to make it optimal. So that would be the predicted value if I'm using this line, right? So how I would represent the data is I would take one particular Gaussian for each point. Let me show you. So if I just draw this Gaussian, so this Gaussian has a mean, which is actually the predicted point, it means the prediction of the line. I'm taking that as the mean, and the variance is sigma square. So as I had defined in the previous slide, I had said that I would have some yi, and this would be like the yi's would be distributed in as a Gaussian, and they would have mean xi theta, right? They would have a mean xi theta, and they would have a variance sigma square. So this Gaussian has a variance sigma square, and we all know that like I am assuming we know that the prediction in linear regression, the prediction is obtained by this matrix multiplication x transpose theta or x theta, depending on our representation of the weights. So any of these represent the prediction, and if I want to take it for a particular point, I would take xi and I would multiply it by the respective weight theta, and in such a way I would like with the weight matrix theta, and this would give me the particular prediction for that particular value of xi. So this should be my predicted value, like this is my predicted value, and this should be my predicted value. Now if I were taking least squares, I would minimize this distance, right? I would try and minimize this distance. But now what I would like to have is I would like to have the mean of this Gaussian. I would like to have the mean of this Gaussian coincide with this x, right? So if the mean slowly progresses towards x, then I would have effectively have minimized this distance, and I would my line for this point, my line is giving me a perfect prediction. So what I would want to visualize in this drawing is that instead of minimizing this distance, I have to maximize this height. Right? So I would like the Gaussian to be such that the vertical height is like this height is maximum. So that's I would be doing that using something known as maximum likelihood estimation. I want to go through all that. So before I move on, let me just take a few other points so that what I want to say is clarified. Let me take this point. This point is doing quite well, as I can see. So if I would take a Gaussian, so maybe this Gaussian, and that is the mean, and that is the height that like the actual prediction, the label's height on the Gaussian. So I would say that this is doing pretty well. Let's look at this. So this, I think, is a perfect prediction on the line. If I just have a look at it, let me draw it properly. That is there. Terrible. Alright, so that is the point. And now the mean is coinciding with the label. So this is how I would like to visualize my problem. I would like to maximize the probability of the mean occurring at this given point. So that is how I would like to shift the Gaussians and effectively my prediction. With that said, how do I represent what I have just drawn mathematically? So first, let us get to a formal definition of the problem itself. What I would do right now is like I have made all these assumptions, right? And I have to like have a mathematical way to write it down. How I would go about it is, I had said that the distribution of yi is a Gaussian distribution. It's a Gaussian distribution. Like I've drawn it now, so it's very easy to see. It's a Gaussian distribution, and the mean of which is obviously like xi transpose theta, and it has a variance sigma square. So look at this x1. So for x1 transpose theta is the mean. So this is I, right? x1 transpose theta is the mean, sigma square is the variance. So for some value y2, x2 transpose theta would be the mean, sigma square would be the variance. Now this can easily be written as, like, I can take out this xi transpose theta term outside, and I can write it as a zero mean and with some. And now why I'm able to write this is, like, there is no uncertainty in xi, right? So xi is always given to me, so this point has no uncertainty. And this is a zero mean and sigma square variance Gaussian. So one typical way, you could also, instead of assuming this no uncertainty thing, right? So this is what adds the uncertainty in y, and we would like to minimize the uncertainty in y. However, looking at this, let us see what this actually means in a different way. So what I could do is, I could take any Gaussian, right? I could take any Gaussian with zero mean, and I could shift it, like I could give it a shift along the x-axis by xi transpose theta, and I would get all these respective Gaussians, right? So what I would have after that is, xi transpose theta over here. So it's nothing but a simple DC shift. So yeah, so this is good, right? Like I can take out this xi transpose theta, and I can have this form of the equation. And now let us try and have a look at what I meant by a probabilistic view, right? So up until now we have just represented everything as Gaussians. Let's go ahead and have a probabilistic view of it. So this is y, like I have a definition for each point yi, but let us have a distribution, probability distribution for y. So this is the probability distribution of y, and it is parameterized by x, the theta and a sigma, right? So this y would depend on x, it would also depend on theta, and it would depend on sigma. So probability distribution would have the product of product of every like that distribution for every single point. Now that that is done, we know how to write this, right? So this is a simple Gaussian distribution. So we had looked at this last week. Let's go ahead and do that. E to the power minus 1 by 2 sigma squared. Now the point minus the mean whole square. So this is what we had as mu. So, like if you look at this, then this is nothing but the mean squared error loss, right? So like I mean I would have to write one more line. So if I take this entire thing, means if I take this product completely, then the powers of the exponentials would add up. So I would have 2 pi sigma square. So this is sigma square, right? Yeah. So sigma square 2 pi sigma square to the power minus n by 2, like all of the 2 pi sigma squares to the power minus of multiplied together. So e to the power minus 1 by 2 sigma square summation I is equal to 1, because n times these things get added, yi minus xi transpose theta. Look at this thing, like the power of this exponential term. This is nothing but the typical MSE loss, right? So that part is like the mean squared error. Or I could also say that this is the L2 norm of the error. So I can write this as like I'm going to define a cost function effectively soon. So I'm going to write this as like if I want to go for the matrix form, minus 1 by 2 sigma squared. I'm not taking the sigma, I'm not representing sigma as the covariance matrix, though that's simply because while solving this problem I won't be requiring the covariance matrix form. Like, so instead of x transpose theta I'm writing x theta. So that is just a representation, like there's no particular reason why I'm doing that, except that I don't want to write the transpose every time. I could just represent x and theta such that x theta and x transpose theta mean the same thing. 1 by 2 sigma square. I would have y minus x theta transpose. So this is a dot into y minus x theta. So this is something that like I would have if you have studied linear regression, like in using least squares, so you are already familiar with lines like these, right? Now I think the thing is fairly simplified out, but I would there's a very important takeaway from here, like so we transformed a loss into probabilities. So let's try and see something, like let's try and see what we have actually done. So we have a distribution now, the distribution of the label data over the some given parameters, like this is the label data, and there are some given parameters, and this is some 1 by some multiplication factor, say kappa e to the power minus the loss, which is also defined by the data and the parameter. So look at this, right? So this kappa would typically be some magnitude value that normalizes everything. Like if it has to be a probability, then this integral needs to be valid, right? Or rather, now that we are in the finite domain, it's I is equal to minus infinite to infinite, pi should sum to 1. So however, in whatever we consider, so basically every probability distribution should be normalized to 1. So I think that that is what this constant does over here, and that's what it could intuitively mean. And now I think that we can go forward with a very simple method, right? So I have to right now solve this problem, right? I have to solve this problem. So how I am solving this problem is that I have to maximize the probability of each y falling to the mean, right? So transpose theta should be such, like theta should be such that x transpose theta is very close to yi, or all these Gaussians become come close to the origin, right? So I'm going to do something fairly simple over here. I have this large probability distribution, right? Let me just write it down again. Alright, so we have something decent over here. However, what I would typically like to do is that I would like to take a logarithm. Like, I don't want to deal with products. If I take a logarithm, then especially this exponential goes away, and I have something fairly simple. So what I am taking right now, these things are known as log likelihoods, right? So like this is the like this probability distribution defines the likelihood, and I'm taking the logarithm, so that's the log likelihood. Let me take this log likelihood L theta. Minus 1 by 2 sigma. The exponential just goes away, and the power, it just comes down. So yeah, this form is fairly simple. And now if you have a look at this, this is nothing but your MSE loss, as we have already seen video. Now moving forward, we like what I am solving right now in technical terms, this is known as maximum likelihood estimation. Like I would like to maximize this probability, right? And hence what I would like to do is I would like to maximize this log likelihood. However, like in all our algorithms in machine learning, we usually minimize stuff, right? We minimize cost functions. There are optimizers, there's gradient descent. So always we are looking to find the minima. So instead of finding the maximum of this, I could say minimize the negative, right? So minimizing the negative of this is the same as maximizing this. So plus now this thing becomes fairly simple. If you have solved it using least squares, you can just like, you have to take the ML estimates over here, like you have to take it once with respect to theta, and you could also take the ML estimate of the variance. So you would have like, this would actually not give you anything meaningful, but then again, that's one path. We have to go ahead and look at it. Let us take like, what I mean to say is you have to take the ML estimate of theta. So del theta of L theta is equal to 0. You have to solve this. and you have to solve of the variance, right? So of sigma square. So you have to take, like, I'm just going to take it for sigma, del sigma of that thing of L theta is equal to 0, and we'll have to solve them. And we'll have to come back and we have to actually check, like this is actually like we are writing this constantly as theta, but these are theta comma sigma, right? But then again, if we actually fix sigma squared, then it becomes a function of theta, I guess. But then again, we have to also treat sigma as a variable. So let's come and also find the ML estimate of with respect to variance. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this video right here. So I'm going to evaluate, like I'm going to actually solve these mathematical problems in the next video, right? Like I'm going to just upload it this week itself, but I'm going to just, like, the videos are getting too lengthy, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve these two problems in the next one. However, if you, in case you don't want to watch the next one, or you feel that like the next one is just calculation, right? So what if you just want to take away the intuition from this? So from here you would actually get the solution, right? You would get, if you solve it, you would get like theta is equal to the form, like the standard thing, x transpose x, like there's no bar, x transpose x whole inverse x transpose y, and from here you would just get the definition of variance. So this equation actually does not contribute to anything. You would get the definition of sigma squared from this particular thing. So I'm just going to do this in the next video because it's just rigorous calculation, and I don't think that everybody would be interested in this. So anyway, see you then.